morning, friends. In the last class, we have seen testing, uh, the process of testing, wherein the process of testing, test planning is there. These are the stages of testing, that is test planning, test case development, then running the test case and evaluating test results. This is the whole process of testing we have seen in the last class. Again, we have seen how to write test cases. Test cases has following attributes, that is test case ID, purpose, precondition, input, expected output, post condition, execution history, wherein date, result, version, and run by whom. Generally, this version and run by whom we don't write for examination, we just write up to result. Result means pass or fail, and generally it is written in Excel, and you need to also write it in Excel. In examination, number of test cases, number of scenarios are given, and you need to write test cases for it, so it is very important. Then we have seen types of testing. In first type of testing, we have seen two types, that is functional testing and structural testing, right? So functional testing is nothing, we call it as black box testing. So what is black box testing? Some student has asked, what is this black box testing? In black box testing, we are generally testing functionality of the software irrespective of how it is coded, right? So in black box testing, we are having certain inputs and we match these inputs with desired output, and if we get desired output, we say that test case is passed, or if it doesn't match to the desired output, we say it is false. So this is called as black box testing. In this black box testing, we are not concerned with the type of coding which is there, right? So basically, goals for functional testing or black box testing and structural testing or white box testing are same. Functional testing uses only specification to identify the test cases, right? Functional testing, we are having certain input and output. In SRS, we are specifying what functionality we require for a particular software, and that is tested in black box or functional testing. Whereas in structural testing, we examine the source code of the software, how it is implemented, right? For example, whether you have taken a for loop or while loop, right? For example, consider you are writing a program for finding the factorial of a number. So in order to find a factorial of a number, we can have different strategies. For example, you can use a for loop, you can use while loop, you can use different function to calculate the factorial. You can have recursive function to calculate the factorial. So depending upon what type of coding you are using or what type of logic you are using, your complexity will differ. And in structural testing, we are testing this complexity, right? So whether in generally in software testing, we see how the code is written, whether it is properly structured or not, whether proper comments are given or not, whether uh, nomenclature has been followed or not. So all those things we generally test in structural testing. It's certain type of code review, we can say, right? So basic difference is, in black box testing, we are not concerned with the source code of the, or source code is not known to the tester, whereas in structural testing, he requires the source code or implementation to be known to test the particular structural testing. Again, testing is a craft. You can test or you can write test cases depending upon where you find errors or faults, right? If you don't know what will be the fault, consider you are having you are having car at your house or bike, right? So if there is some fault, we try to identify which part that fault occurs, and according to that we can rectify. Similarly, in software also, we usually need to know where the faults will occur more. The faults are likely to reside in which part, right? So if you know that, we can easily write test cases for that, right? We can use this employ more appropriate test cases identification method, right? So we can apply this in order to find out or write the test cases which is required. Next, another type of testing is static and dynamic testing, right? So static and dynamic testing, these terms are you are familiar with. Static means which is not running, and dynamic means which is running. Two other terms to describe how software is testing is static and dynamic testing. Static testing refer to the testing something that is not running. Yeah, we are general. Suppose you want to buy a car, right? So you will go first type, you will see the appearance of the car, right? So the car is standing and you will see how it looks, right? How it is from the exterior, right? And second thing, you will, if you want to find out how its engine is, so you will start it and try to run it, right? So these two type of testing, first one is static, where you can observe from the outside, and another type of testing is dynamic, where you will run, right? So dynamic testing is something that's running and using the software. Errors and faults, there are certain taxonomy for this. So definition of errors and faults. So another thing is process. What is process? Refer to how we do something. Product is end result. SQA is software quality assurance, and testing. Testing is clearly more product oriented. We are just testing a particular thing, so that whether it is acceptable or not, right, to find out. Faults can be classified in several ways. Okay, so these are number of types of faults which we can classify, like mild, which is not that impactful, then moderate, misleading or redundant information. Some redundant information is there, right? Annoying fault is there. They are disturbing, and so these are number of levels or nomenclature we can use. Then serious, very serious, extreme, intolerable, catastrophic. Catastrophic means where your system will not be able to run at all, right? Infectious, matlab, which is affecting the other system as well, right? Which will cause other system to fail as well. So that is infectious. And then there is logical faults, missing case, duplicate case, extreme condition neglected, misinterpretation, missing condition, extraneous condition, test of wrong variables, incorrect loop iteration, wrong operation. Then computational faults are there, incorrect algorithm, missing computation, incorrect operand, incorrect operation, parenthesis is not there. Sometimes parenthesis is not there, it will calculate wrongly. Then insufficient precision, round off is not there, truncation is there, right? Wrong building function, right? Then interface fault, incorrect interrupt handling, input output timing, call to wrong procedure, call to non-existing procedure, parameter mismatch, incompatible types, superficial inclusion, and we are including something which is not there. Data faults are there, incorrect initialization, incorrect storage access, wrong flag index value, incorrect packaging, unpackaging, wrong variable use, wrong data reference, scaling or unit error, incorrect data dimension, incorrect subscript, incorrect type, incorrect data scope, censor data out of limit of by one, inconsistent data. So these are. Then there are different levels of testing. Level of testing, we will see, right, basic model, waterfall model, we will see what are the different levels of testing. So this is V model, waterfall model. We can see in right from stages are there: requirement specification, preliminary design, then detailed design, then coding. At the lower stage we are using unit test cases, then we are integrating it, and after integration we will test the system as a whole. This is also called as V model. We will see, right, this V model. So requirement, system requirement, global design, detailed design, and implementation. Here you are having unit test cases, then integration test cases, then system test execution, system as a whole, so system test cases, then acceptance testing. It is done by the at the client side, right, whether that particular software is acceptable by the user or not. We will in detail see in the next unit what these types of testing means. The major question which arises when we are testing is when to start a particular testing and when to end a particular testing. Right? So testing can be started at any stage. An early start to testing reduces the cost, time to rework, and error. Right? If you are starting testing at the early stages, suppose you are gathering requirements, and at that requirement stage you are try to test whether your requirements are right or not. So at the requirement phase only you will get whatever faults or errors you have developed while collecting the facts, right? So you can easily remove at that stage. If these errors percolate to the last stage, for example in waterfall modeling, if you are testing at the later stage, आखिरी में, सबसे आखिरी में if you are testing it at the last, then this error will get percolated at the end, and at the end, in order to remove this sort of error, you will require more cost, more time, right? Confusion will be more, right? So you can start testing at the early stage. It can be started from the requirement gathering, and it will continue till the last phase of the software development life cycle. It also depends upon a development model. What type of development model you are using, it also drive what type of, when we are starting the testing, or what type of testing we are using. For example, if you are considering waterfall model, you will be starting testing according to the waterfall model. You will be starting testing at the last stage. Whereas if you consider a spiral model or iterative model, in each stage you will be testing the particular software, right? So testing is done in different form at every phases of SDLC, like during requirement gathering phase, analysis and verification of requirement, so considered as testing. So testing is not only that you are testing the software, right? Testing can be while gathering or analyzing your requirement, that is also testing. While designing, if you are analyzing your design, yeah, you are reviewing your design, then that is also a testing, a type of testing. Then after the development, if you are seeing what is the output, what functionality it is producing, this is also considered as testing. Then next question arises, when to stop testing. Unlike when to start testing, it is difficult to determine when to stop testing, right? Because testing is a never ending process. You cannot say your system is 100% tested, your software is 100% tested, otherwise there will be no updates, right? In the software you can see um, after inception of the software, it has different version. This version is why? Because there are faults. But what we consider while we want to stop the testing is we are having some constraint, right? This constraint make us to stop testing. What these constraints are? You are having testing deadlines. Yes. A certain timeline is given. Okay, you need to test in this time period. You need to deliver at that time. And so, if you want to deliver at that time, particular time, you need to test it fast and complete it. So errors may be there. Some of the errors may be there. We will say that okay, up to this part or up to this extent, we are okay with our testing. Then we stop the testing. Then completion of test cases execution. You are having some set of test cases which you have done executing, then you can stop. Then completion of functional and code coverage to certain point, black box white box testing आप कर चुके हैं. Then bug rate falls below a certain level and no high priority bugs are identified, there are no serious bugs. And lastly, management decision. Okay, management says that okay, up to this I can be for testing, and up to this part I am approved. Testing should be stopped when it meets the completion criteria. Completion criteria should be based on risk. Right? So what types of risk you are able to take. So today we will stop